I told you the Avengers is a bigger team than you could ever imagine? What if I told you that the Avengers had actually hundreds of members? Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's me, Amanda McKnight, aka Vampex13, but you can call me Vampy. Most folks think Avengers and they think of Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, but even the heroes you never think of when you think Avengers have actually been members. Find out as we count down the top 10 superheroes you never knew were Avengers. Who would you love to see on the Avengers team? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Invisible Woman. If you've ever wondered how separate the Avengers and Fantastic Four are kept in the comics, the answer is fairly separate. Usually. While the FF are good friends with many of the Avengers team and vice versa, they usually stick to fighting their own villains in their own comics. However, in the late 1980s, there was a time, around issue 307, when the Fantastic Four members and founders Susan Storm, aka the Invisible Woman, and Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, decided to actually leave their team for a period. They would be absent from their main team, the Fantastic Four, for almost 20 issues. But where did they go? Well, for a few issues, they were actually members of the Avengers. That being said, their time on the Avengers team was even more short-lived than their absence from the Fantastic Four comic. They were members from issue 300 of the Avengers to issue 303 when they left the team. They would return temporarily along with other heroes who had been members in issue 305, but that was pretty much it at the time for their Avengers run, which actually makes up only about 5 issues total. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, be sure to let us know that you love us by clicking that like button. Or at least, let us know you like us. Number 9, Sersi. At the time that the Fantastic Four were briefly members of the Avengers, there were also some other folks you might recognize joining up with the Avengers team. Well, you may or may not recognize them, actually, as they are known for belonging to another Marvel superhero team, which hasn't always been the most popular team around. But I gotta be real with you, their latest series by Kieran Gillen was one of the best things that I've read in the last few years. I'm actually so sad it was cut short. My word and art, it was good. We are talking about, of course, the Eternals. Not all of the Eternals have been members of the Avengers team, and those who have definitely aren't as iconic of members as the mainstays like Captain America and Iron Man. But I do enjoy the relationship the Eternals have with the Avengers overall, with some of them being former members. It strengthens their ally bonds, but it's also cool to think about just how much power Eternals like Sersi brought to the team during their time on that team. Number 8, Avenger Prime. Avenger Prime is kinda like all of the Avengers merged together. At least that is what the original version of this character was. They made their first appearance in the 2013 Mighty Avengers series, but another character with that name also appeared in the 2021 Free Comic Book Day Avengers and Hulk comic. They showed up, of course, in the Avengers portion of that double feature comic. Their Avengers Prime was shown as the leader of the Deathlock Avengers forces who stood guard at the God Quarry, seeking to watch, protect, and warn against major multiversal threats and potential chronal collapses. Spoilers, but this version of Avenger Prime was later revealed to be none other than a variant of Loki, if you can believe it. The other Avenger Prime we saw before this was a different being altogether who, thanks to a ritual, was made up of the Mighty Avengers team bonded together. You may have heard of one of these, or you may have heard of neither of these, or you may have heard of both of them, but I'm assuming probably unlikely unless you're fully immersed in the comics. It's my life. I literally just lean back into a bath of comic books. Number 7, Fang. Daken is the son of Wolverine, who actually currently goes by his given name of Akihiro in the comics, and has also taken up the superhero codename of Fang. Initially, the name Akihiro was known by, Daken, was actually a cruel nickname that he simply chose to adopt as his own. Daken in Japanese translates to cur or mongrel in English, and was used in reference to the fact that Akihiro was actually of mixed race. His mother was a Japanese woman, Itsu, who was murdered before she could give birth to him, and his father, of course, was the Canadian Wolverine, who believed that the unborn Akihiro had also been killed along with his wife, and did not know that he'd actually been stolen away by the weirdo villain Romulus, and survived following Itsu's death. Daken was raised to hate his father and would grow up to become a villain and specifically an enemy of Wolverine. Norman would later recruit Daken to become his stand-in Wolverine for his own Dark Avengers team. And of course, this is before he was known as Akihiro or Fang, but now he is a hero, so he counts. Dun dun dun. Number 6, Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel has barely made any appearances recently in the comics, despite being one of the greatest powerhouses we've seen. It's downright rude, if you ask me. Now, of course, if I'm missing something that is amazing that happened with him lately, please do let me know. But I don't think he's really even been around since, I believe, the end of the Defenders Beyond series last year. Before that, he appeared in Doctor Doom series, but my question is, when are we getting a Blue Marvel series? Huh, Marvel? While Blue Marvel has not been a member of the main Avengers roster, which honestly also kinda seems insane to me at this point, he has been a member of the Mighty Avengers, and honestly, he deserves to be a member of the main Avengers team and deserves to appear more, if you ask me. I mean, no one's necessarily asking me, like Marvel isn't calling me and asking, but Marvel, if you call me and you ask, I'm gonna be like, yo, where's that Blue Marvel series? Can I have that? Number 5, Black Knight. Honestly, probably one of the most underappreciated heroes we have had as not just a member, but also a leader of the Avengers, is the Black Knight. Black Knight is a character who feels like lately has faded somewhat into obscurity. Even the Black Knight MCU project announced only a few years back that was to star Kit Harington in the role as Dane Whitman's Black Knight has fallen into uncertainty and, honestly, obscurity. Does anyone remember that? I remember that. I thought maybe with Kit Harington made famous for his role as reluctant hero Jon Snow in the series Game of Thrones, playing Dane Whitman in the Eternals movie, we might actually see a resurgence of this character in the comics, bolstered by his MCU appearance, but apparently not. However, while Dane's role as the Black Knight was teased at the end of the film with the appearance of his ancestral cursed sword, the Ebony Blade, we have yet to hear anything about the development of his announced series, and even Harington himself says he is pretty much in the dark on what Marvel's plans might be involving the character. Though I think he's still down to play the character, so fingers crossed, Black Knight, is that happening? Number 4, Valkyrie. Brunhilde is Valkyrie, or at least she was Valkyrie. Now there's another Valkyrie, and other Valkyries besides, but I digress. Brunhilde is also a Valkyrie. Was a Valkyrie in the comics. She ended up joining the Secret Avengers after her apparent death during the Fear Itself event. As a character, she honestly dies quite a bit, but she usually gets to return, which is awesome to see at least. As an Asgardian, Brunhilde has power that comes from, well, just being of Asgard. She has superhuman strength, speed, durability, and reflexes, has slowed aging and increased lifespan, and can heal, and that's just her Asgardian stuff. She's also a Valkyrie, so that is its own power set as well. Although, as I said, all of that doesn't always save her from dying. She does quite a bit, honestly. Number 3, Gilgamesh. The Eternals and the Avengers are both hero groups, but more than that, they are also both allies to one another and even, honestly, friends. Some members of the Eternals have even teamed up with or been a member of the Avengers, as I said before, and Sersi isn't the only one from the Eternals team to join up with the Avengers. Both Sersi and Gilgamesh each served on the Avengers team at one point. Sersi ended up being offered membership to the Avengers after befriending Captain America, whereas Gilgamesh actually joined the Avengers for a short time after Captain America had lost his mantle temporarily to US Agent. His time on the team may have been brief, but he's actually believed to be one of the all-time strongest members that we've ever had. Number 2, Nova. Nova is Richard Rider. He basically came on to the Secret Avengers to act as their powerhouse when Captain America originally banded the team together after Hammer was disbanded. Nova is basically insanely powerful due to him being the host of the Nova Force. He only ended up sticking around for the first arc of the first Secret Avengers series volume, as he had to do some cosmic stuff and was pulled away, but hey, he was still a member for a time, so it still counts. Nova is insanely strong, fast, durable, can self-heal, can fly, is capable of interstellar flight, and he's super smart, as he has access to the Xandarian world mind, basically giving him access to all the knowledge of Xandar. Or at least he did. I don't know if he still has that, but he did have that, and if he did have it before, then I'm assuming he still remembers it? It's a lot to remember, though, to be honest. Number 1, Cable. Nathan Summers ended up joining the Avengers team at a time when Captain America was seeking to present a show of unity. Hence, Cable ended up on the Avengers Unity Division, which was meant to bring together Avengers and X-Men after the events of Avengers vs. X-Men had created some tension between the two premier superhero groups of Earth. In regards to the series' title name, the team was actually known as the Uncanny Avengers, with Cable joining up as early as issue number 4. Cable is an extremely powerful telepath and telekinetic due to him being the offspring of X-Men member Cyclops and his wife, Madeline Pryor, who is basically Jean Grey's clone as created by the mad mutant geneticist villain, Mr. Sinister. Despite Maddie being his birth mother though, Jean has also kind of been like a mother to Nate after she was implanted with the memories of raising him, making him kind of like her telepathically retconned son, with Maddie becoming more like a surrogate in terms of her relationship with Nate and honestly how she was treated in the comics. Which is a whole other story. That's a whole other list. I could do a whole list about Madeline Pryor and how she's been treated. That's about it. Until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.